Welcome to my channel Sci-Fi Love Story. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe. The Imperial Space Station, Aurelian, drifted silently above a blue star. It was not just a station. It was a symbol. Gold and white metal curved across space like a crown. Every light burned perfect. Every surface shined. From far away it looked like a god had built it and left it floating there to remind the galaxy who ruled. Inside, the Grand Unity Hall prepared for the Emperor's feast. This was not a celebration. It was a warning. Thousands of guests filled the hall, military leaders from 100 systems, alien kings with skin of stone or eyes like fire, noble families dressed in fabrics worth more than planets. They spoke softly. They moved carefully. Because one mistake here could end a bloodline. At the far end of the hall, above all others, sat the Emperor's table. Empty seats waited for the royal family. And beside it, there was another table. Smaller, plain, almost forgotten. One chair, one occupant. A young woman sat there unmoving. Her name was Princess Lyra Valen, the Emperor's only daughter. Silent, paralyzed, broken since childhood. No one knew exactly what happened to her. Some said it was an alien attack. Others whispered about experiments that went wrong. A few believed she was cursed. The truth no longer mattered. What mattered was this. No one sat near her. No one spoke to her. No one even looked at her for too long. The chair she sat in was old, filled with wires and dark metal plates. Thin lights blinked slowly along its sides. Tubes ran beneath her arms and behind her neck. The chair kept her alive. But it did not give her a life. Across the hall, far from royalty and power, a side door slid open. A single human stepped inside. His name was Irene Vale. He stopped just inside the doorway. The noise hit him first. Voices, music, clinking metal, soft laughter filled with fear. He swallowed. I just fix doors, he whispered to himself. Irene was not supposed to be here. He was a mechanic, born on a mining moon that barely existed on star maps. His hands were rough, scarred by heat burns and sharp edges. His clothes were clean but worn thin. Earlier that day, a reactor access door had failed on the station's outer ring. Emergency maintenance had been called. Irene had drawn the short lot. He fixed the door. Then a guard pointed him toward the grand hall. Eat, the guard said, then leave. That was all. Irene took a careful step forward. Eyes followed him. Not angry eyes. Curious ones. Humans were still rare in the core systems. Too new, too unpredictable, too messy. Irene felt very small. He kept his head down and walked along the wall, searching for food. Long tables filled the hall. Plates overflowed with shining fruit, steaming meats, glowing alien drinks. Smells made his stomach twist. He had not eaten since morning. He reached the first table. A noble glanced at him. Just a glance. But it was enough. A guard appeared instantly. Move along, the guard said, voice low. Irene nodded quickly. He tried another table. Same result. Everywhere he went, eyes narrowed, guards shifted closer. He was not wanted. Then he saw it. The small table. Almost empty. Almost invisible. No guards nearby, no nobles watching. Just one young woman sitting still, staring forward. Irene hesitated. Something about the table felt wrong, too quiet, too lonely. But hunger pushed him forward. Just a few minutes, he thought, I'll eat fast and leave. He walked toward the table. No one stopped him. That should have been his warning. Irene pulled out the chair and sat down. The sound echoed louder than it should have. Metal scraping stone. The hall went silent. Music died mid-note. 1,000 voices stopped at once. Irene froze. Slowly he looked up. Every single person in the grand hall was staring at him. Faces pale, eyes wide, Some looked horrified, others looked almost afraid. A fork clattered to the floor. Iren's heart slammed against his ribs. "What?" he whispered. Then he felt it. A pressure in the air, heavy, cold. Like the room itself was holding its breath. He turned his head. The woman beside him had not moved. Her skin was pale, too pale. Her dark hair rested neatly on her shoulders. Her eyes were open but empty, like they were looking at something far away. Only then did Iren notice the symbol on her chest. The royal mark. His blood ran cold. "Oh," he breathed. Whispers exploded across the hall. "That's her. The princess. He's dead. Why hasn't anyone stopped him?" Iren tried to stand. His legs refused to move. A guard raised a hand. "Do not," the guard whispered, shaking. Iren sat back down slowly. Sweat ran down his spine. He dared another look at the princess. Up close, he saw things others had stopped seeing long ago. The chair was old, very old, imperial design but early model. The neural ports were stiff. The power lines ran unevenly. Wrong. Completely wrong. Iren's mechanic instincts screamed. That stabilizer is fighting her nervous system, not supporting it. His mouth moved before his brain caught up. They wired it wrong. The words echoed through the hall. A sound like a blade being drawn filled the air. The Emperor stood. He was massive, tall even among his own kind. His robes flowed like liquid gold. His eyes locked onto Iren. "Human," the Emperor said slowly. "What did you say?" Iren's throat went dry. He could feel death pressing in from all sides. "The chair," Iren said, voice shaking. "It's wired wrong." Silence. The Emperor stepped forward. Each step felt like a hammer striking the floor. "That chair," the Emperor said, "has been examined by the greatest minds in the Empire." Iren swallowed. "They're scholars," he said quietly. "I'm a mechanic." A ripple of shock moved through the crowd. "Who dares speak like that?" The Emperor raised a hand. Iren's life hung on a single breath. Then it happened. A finger moved. Just one. Princess Lyra's right hand twitched. Barely noticeable. But it was real. A noble screamed. The Emperor froze. The princess's eyes shifted. For the first time in 10 years they focused. Right on Iren's. Tears gathered at the corners of her eyes. Iren stared back, heart pounding. "She can feel it," he whispered. "The feedback, it hurts her." The Emperor's face broke. Shock, hope, fear, rage. All at once. Guards rushed forward, weapons raised. Iren did not resist. He only looked at the princess. Her lips trembled. Sound tried to escape. Failed. The Emperor stood before Iren. "If you lie," the Emperor said, voice shaking with fury and hope, "you will beg for death." Iren nodded. "I know." The Emperor leaned closer. "If you fail," he whispered, "your suffering will echo through your species." Iren took a breath. Then he said the only thing that mattered. "Let me fix it." The princess blinked. Once, slowly, as if she agreed. The room was silent. Not the heavy silence of the grand hall. This was deeper, thicker. Iren Vale stood alone in a white chamber far below the Imperial space station. The walls were smooth and curved without seams or marks. The air smelled clean, almost empty. It was not a prison. That was what frightened him most. The chair sat in the center of the room. The same chair. Princess Lyra's chair. Now without her in it. Cables ran from the ceiling into the machine. Old cables, new cables, layers of repairs stacked on top of each other over the years. Iren walked around it slowly. "They kept adding fixes," he whispered, but never stopped to ask what was wrong. Behind a transparent wall, figures watched him. Generals, scientists, nobles. And at the center, the Emperor. His arms were crossed, his face was stone. If you need tools, the Emperor said through a speaker, they will appear. Irene nodded. His hands shook. Not from fear. From pressure. 1,000 lives rested on what he was about to touch. Princess Lyra was brought in quietly. Her chair floated, guided by invisible fields. Guards moved with care like they were handling glass. Her eyes searched the room. Then found Irene. They did not look empty anymore. They looked aware. Afraid. Irene met her gaze. I'll be careful, he said softly. No one stopped him. The princess was positioned back into the chair. Lights flickered on. Monitors woke. Lines of data flooded the walls. The scientists leaned closer. Irene ignored it all. He knelt beside the chair and placed his hand on the metal frame. Cold. Too cold. This thing isn't listening to her, he said. It's arguing with her. The Emperor's voice came sharp. Explain. Irene took a breath. Your tech is perfect, he said. Too perfect. Murmurs spread behind the glass. Irene continued. It expects her brain to behave exactly right. But brains don't work that way. Not human ones, not alien ones either. He pointed at the neural core. Every time her brain sends a weak signal, the system blocks it. It thinks it's an error. Silence followed. Then a scientist spoke. That is how safety is maintained. Irene shook his head. That's how you trap someone. He opened the first panel. Guards stiffened. The Emperor raised a hand. Continue. Inside, wires glowed faint blue and silver. Clean, ordered. Too ordered. Irene pulled a tool from the air as promised. Simple, heavy, human-made. He cut the power. Alarms screamed. Red lights flashed. She'll die, someone shouted. No, Irene said calmly. She'll feel. The alarm stopped. Princess Lyra gasped. A sharp, sudden breath. Her chest rose. Her eyes widened. Pain crossed her face. I know, Irene whispered. I know it hurts. Tears ran down her cheeks. But she was alive. The Emperor stepped forward. You will stop, he commanded. Irene shook his head. Not now. He rewired the neural loop. Not clean. Not elegant. He added delay. Flex. Human design. He fed the signal back into itself, letting it wobble, letting it learn. The system resisted. Then adapted. Princess Lyra's fingers curled. Her hand closed. Her arm shook. The room froze. She's moving, someone whispered. Irene adjusted again. Slow. Careful. Princess Lyra's legs twitched. Her head turned. She cried out. A sound raw and broken. But real. Father. The word scraped out of her throat like it had been locked there for years. The Emperor fell to his knees. No one had ever seen that. The ruler of 1,000 systems collapsed like a man. Tears streamed down his face. I'm here, he said. I'm here. Irene stepped back. His work was not finished. But the hardest part was over. Hours passed. Not minutes. Hours. The chair was no longer a cage. It became a support. Princess Lyra sat upright. With help. Her voice was weak but steady. She spoke of pain, of silence, of being awake but unable to scream. The scientists listened. Some cried. Some looked ashamed. This system was never meant to heal, Irene said quietly. It was meant to control. The Emperor stood. His voice echoed through the station. From this moment, he declared, human engineers will be welcomed in Imperial research. Gasps followed. No one had ever been invited like that. Irene washed his hands in a small basin. The water shook. His hands still trembled. A guard approached. The Emperor wishes to reward you. Irene sighed. Figures. He was brought back to the Grand Hall. The tables were gone. The fear was gone. Everyone stood. The Emperor raised his hand. Irene Vale, he said. You saved my daughter. You saved the Empire's future. Servants brought forward cases of gold, land deeds, data keys. Irene stared. Then shook his head. I don't want it. Shock spread. The Emperor frowned. You refuse. Irene nodded. I fix things, he said. I don't rule them. The princess rolled forward. On her own. Unsteady. But moving. I want him, she said, voice clear. As my chief engineer. Silence. Then laughter. Soft, real. The Emperor smiled. So be it. Days passed. News spread across the galaxy. A human mechanic healed the cursed princess. Human tech flooded research halls. Not perfect. Not beautiful. But alive. Systems learned. Adapted. Failed. And recovered. Irene returned to work. Not in gold halls. But in workshops. Princess Lyra often joined him. Learning. Laughing. Living. The galaxy watched. And understood something new. Humanity does not dominate. Humanity endures. Humanity fixes what others abandon. Above the station, stars burned. The Empire changed. Not because of power, but because a poor mechanic sat at the wrong table. The end.